Guten Morgen, Cage-Siders. Welcome to some episode of Like a House of Fire, an occasional video cast commentary with yours truly, Sean Rueter. You can reach me usually online here at Cage-Side Seats or on Twitter at S1Rude. I think this might be 12, an even dozen of Like a House of Fire. Um, that's probably not too bad. I think I started doing these in August. That would be like 6 in 2 months. Anyway, let's see. What was I going to talk about? Oh, Bray Wyatt. This actually goes back quite a ways. At one point, I had solicited some feedback from folks about what to talk about. Somebody said, "What would you do with Bray Wyatt?" I think it was Manolo, and I'd never answered. And he disappeared for a while, and he sort of reappeared on the main shows this week with the Luke Harper singles push video package on Raw. And then some rumors started to come out that yesterday, as a matter of fact, I believe that they were going to break up the group officially, and each member, Bray, Luke, and Eric Rowan, would be singles competitors from here on out. And I don't like that very much at all. I think there's a lot of places they could go with the gimmick. I think the gimmick is practically built around the fact that he recruits people. It's not practically built around it. It is built around it. He's the charismatic cult leader guy, and now they've decided that he's not going to have a cult or anything. And I don't think that's necessary at all. I don't think you have to book them as this unit all the time to keep them together. I'm hopeful. I talked about it on Monday night with Matt Roth on Cage Side Live. I'm hopeful that this just means that Luke's going to be a singles competitor and still aligned with Wyatt, perhaps even as a manager. We'll see. I just think there was a lot more that they could have done with them as a unit, with the Harper and Rowan as a tag team. I mean, you got to change the whole frickin' entrance. I mean, it's all about those guys come out with him and bring the chair, and I mean, I don't know. I'm concerned. They do seem in love with the cell phone entrance part of it. I don't know. I hope they don't make him a babyface or a traditional babyface anyway. Let the crowd react how they're going to react. I just think this is it can't. If you can't tell, I think this is dumb and bad, and I'm disappointed. So, that's that. That's that piece of it. But what could be done to save Bray or anything like that? I don't know exactly. I mean, I think taking him off TV for a few weeks was probably good, even though he won the feud with Chris Jericho. Some people complain. I thought it was good. I thought that was a really good match. I thought it was a good way to not leave to, not to be like an advocate of 50-50 booking and all that stuff. But I thought it was a good way to have Bray win and look pretty strong, and but without making Jericho look like a chump, so that the win actually meant something. And the one thing I would have changed about that was I would have had Bray write Jericho off, or I mean, the fact that he just sort of rolled right into that Orton match and then is disappointing. Even though I like the Orton match too, but I guess Jericho's a different topic for a different time. But not really. So here's the thing. I don't know exactly what I would do with Bray Wyatt, other than obviously keep him with his family, as I said earlier. But there's a couple things that I think that WWE could do that they fall down on, that it bite them in the ass time after time after time, especially when they're introducing these new characters. And that's, it seems to me like it's pretty basic thinking, but I guess not. And I guess it's probably another casualty of the Vince McMahon rewrites problem that Keith Harris wrote about this week that, pops up every once in a while. It's either a really elaborate work or it's just true that's how these things are written. But with that and with a bunch of shows and a lot of hours to fill, it seems to me like they should have something along the lines of what I have read. I'm sort of a process wonk kind of a person. I like to read about how things are put together. It's one of the big appeals of wrestling for me, is I like to think about how they construct these stories and build these characters to get these reactions. So I read a lot about how ongoing television series are built, and I'm a comic book nerd. I read a lot about how that stuff is done, um, and there's a lot of similarities here. Obviously, I mean this is a long-running television enterprise, the WWE. So I don't understand why they don't have, and maybe they do have, and I don't understand why. I don't understand the way they use them if they do, like a character Bible. For each character, work with the guy or give it to the new guys, whatever it is. Here's your character. Here's his motivation or her motivation. And then that helps the writers and the performers handle whatever storyline or plot developments are thrown at them, whether it's a month in advance or 30 minutes in advance. You have an understanding that this is my character, this is where he or she comes from, this is what they're trying to do, so that you can, bring that to whatever situation you're presented with. I think probably the good performers do that in their own heads, but I think that they need some help with that, because I mean, a good example is Bray. I think that this is a cat that obviously has a really good, this is his character. Has a lot of him in it. Obviously, with the volume turned up, I hope that he's not actually living in Louisiana swamps, rocking away under a dead tree. But still, I mean, I think that gets this whole, like, when the plot developments don't reconcile themselves the way it would make sense for them to, with him gaining a new recruit, or converting someone, or putting down someone who he failed to convert, it kind of gets lost, and I think that's where the burnout came with Bray for a lot of us, even more than the fact that he was losing or being made to look badly in losses, was that he was stating he had a goal, and then that goal wasn't met, and then he was just restating it. And that's not only makes him look weak, it's kind of boring television. There's no development there. So, I don't know what exactly it would be. I mean, I think given that most of this is built around a fake sports competition, I think everybody's goal should probably be the championship, or it should be, I mean, if you want to reality era it up, it should be the main event. And I think that changes that narrative. If Bray's stated goal there is, I need to be on WrestleMania, I need to be on these cards so that I can spread my message and I can convert these followers in the stands, which that is something that he was accomplishing, right? I mean, he was getting more and more people to sing along and to raise their cell phones, and he can claim a victory there, even in putting over John Cena again. Like, that guy needs it, but that's also another topic for another time. Or Jericho or whoever. So I don't understand why that's not the case. That why each guy doesn't have that understanding, because it doesn't seem to me that they do. It seems that that's often a casualty of the week to week, minute to minute booking, is that we don't know why guys are doing what they're doing, especially like a mid-card guy. I mean, Dolph Ziggler got lost in this for years. Damian Sandow was lost in it for a while. Cody Rhodes was lost in it. Here's my character, here's the objective. That gives you the basis for every feud. That's the conflict. These guys have different motivations. They're shooting for the same thing, using different means, so there's your feud. And one of these things, it's something that I really enjoyed when I was recapping Superstars for a while. I don't know if they still do it, because to be honest with you, I watch a lot of wrestling and I don't get a chance to check in with everything. But I mean, they would just give you these little, like, these guys bumped into each other backstage, and Titus O'Neil was trying to hit on somebody, and somebody else thought that he was talking himself up too much, so they decided to have a match. I mean, just that little bit, if the guys are halfway adequate storytellers in the ring, that little extra pop goes from just here's a time killer match to here's something that can develop both of these guys, even if they never face each other again. So I hope that is something that they do. I think that for all of WWE and TNA's adoption of we're entertainment companies and we want to be Hollywood and we want to hire soap opera writers and things like that, that's something that they're trying to integrate a little bit better, or stick to it better if they do integrate it. Because I don't think we see it. I think it's a I think it's something that's behind our complaints about the mid-card and our complaints about new stars that get lost, and on and on and on and on. So I've sort of prattled on for about as long as I usually shoot to prattle on in these things, which is about 10 minutes. So I actually had another thought about this, but I will save that, and I will try to get a couple of these out, or at least have something to talk about next week. So let me know what you think about if the WWE does an okay job with this, with having characters have set motivations that they stick to through feuds and through angles and ups and downs, or how they could do it better, or if you think I'm completely off base, or if there's something else you want me to talk about, all that jazz. So thank you for watching, and thank you for being a cage sider, and I'll try not to bite your ear, kick your groin. Deal with it.